Hello. I'm going to talk to you about ground control points and how we use them in a drone data processing workflow. As you may know, in your drone, there's already a GPS, which stands for Global Positioning System, or a GNSS, which stands for Global Navigation Satellite System module that is built into your drone. This module is critical to providing you locational data that guide your drone and also locational data that goes with the information that is collected by your drone. But in some high accuracy drone application, right, this onboard GPS or GNSS module data is not of a high enough quality or high enough accuracy for these applications. And what do I mean by these high accuracy applications? Right, that they could be mapping and surveying that requires high level of accuracy, or construction and inspection, pipeline inspection examples where you require a high level of accuracy to go with your drone data. We can supplement the locational data that is captured by the GPS or GNSS module of your drones with locational information that are captured from external GPS units. Some of you may also know that some companies have been manufacturing these smart ground control points that have a built-in GPS modules in them that provide high accuracy locational information, such as propellers, arrow point units. But we're not going to talk about those in this video. Instead, we'll be talking about manual ground control point targets and how do we get locational data of them to go into our drone data processing workflow today. So speaking of ground control point targets, right, there are several things that we need to look out for when we're creating these ground control point targets, right? When we're making a ground control point targets, we should make sure that they are relatively large, right? So we can easily see them in our drone photo. Also, we should make sure that they are of high contrast colors, right, to make them easily identifiable from the drone photo, and that they should have a clear center point. It is this clear center point that we're going to get the locational data for with our external GPS unit that I'll introduce to you later in this video. And I should also mention that these ground control point targets don't necessarily always have to be portable ones. It can be paint or some other device to just mark X's in different areas of your study areas. Another tip about laying out ground control points in your study area is that you should make sure that these ground control point targets are evenly distributed across the study area that that is part of your drone project. And also, another common question is, how many of these ground control point targets do I need to lay out across my study area? Right, so the answer to that question depends on the size of your study area and also the complexity of your study area. For example, in a study area with a lot of different types of terrain and huge elevation changes, you may need a lot more ground control point targets versus a relatively homogeneous terrain and a flat study area. Once you have laid out, right, these ground control point targets over your study area, the next step is to get the coordinates of the center of each of those ground control point targets that you have set up in your study area. You can use anywhere from a number of external GPS or GNSS device that we'll talk about today. There's a company called Garmin that makes a relatively low-cost recreational grade GPS unit called the eTrax, and that will cost about $100, but that will only give you about 3 meters, plus or minus 3 meters level of accuracy, which isn't really a great improvement over the onboard GNSS or GPS module that is in your drone. For higher accuracy external GPS units, right, you can go with a company like Bad Elf, which makes a unit called the GNSS Surveyor, which will give you about accuracy level of plus or minus 1 meter. And for really high level of accuracy, right, you can go with something called a real-time kinematic GPS unit, like what I have here, by a company called EOS, and it's capable of giving you locational data with accuracy level of plus or minus sub-centimeter accuracy. So when it comes to needing high accuracy GPS data or locational data to go with whatever drone application you need that data for, you may want to look into using one of these RTK GPS units to supplement the data that you can get from the onboard GPS or GNSS modules from your drones. So to learn more about ground control points and other types of drones data processing workflow, please have a look at our other videos in the series, and thank you for watching.